Welcome back to this week's episode of Whoscussion. Guys, I'm sorry that again Part A is just in limbo at the moment. But with Part B, we've got ourselves two good stories. We've got The Fugitives with Molly O'Sullivan, who plays Friday in the MCU, and Paul McGann, who plays my heart in real life.
Yes. Correct.
Our last story for Part B is going to be the Phantasmagoria with the Fifth Doctor and Turlo. Just Terry Scully's favorite.
I mean, he's not the worst.
Yeah, he's not. What was his name? He's not Adric for you.
Yeah,
I like Adric. Why am I the only person on Earth?
By the end, Adric's good, but early Adric, no.
Oh yeah, especially when he's just like, you're a girl, and that's what girls do. I was like, Adric, my boy, I'm trying to defend you, but I can't.
You're ruining it.
I cannot. Especially their vampire episode was like, I'm going to betray the Doctor and Romana to these vampires. And I'm like, oh, cuz, please.
Yeah.
The Fugitives. Harry's going to take us away.
All right, so it begins where we left off, basically. We've got Doctor and Molly having they're having a bit of a time, basically. Things. I'm trying to get it straight in my mind.
Because there is a heaps of time hopping in this.
Yeah, there's heaps of time hopping, but it happens immediately after. Like, this is going to it's not going to be like episode by episode, because things are just happening right after each other. But basically, they're in the TARDIS, trying to get away from the Dalek stuff that's happening. They're in the Doctor's like, hey, it's a future traveling machine. So they go into World War II. They land, kind of. They're trying to get back to Gallifrey. It's not working quite so well.
Where's that? Ireland?
Yeah. that's probably one of the greatest lines I've ever heard in my life. But anyway, what is not quite happening. TARDIS seems to be having a bit of a TARDIS moment. It's her time of the month, really, I guess. So
when eight's the Doctor? Yeah, pretty much every day. The TARDIS doesn't work.
Yeah. So anyway, lands on a boat in the middle of World War II. It gets blown up as they get out. As Molly runs out, obviously, because she's not having a good time at the moment. They end up on the beach of Dunkirk is basically what's happening. Right now.
They're at Dunkirk. She's like, this is great.
Yeah. She's like, she's kind of not really sure what's going on. She's like, what? This is Dunkirk. Wait, and the Germans and so they've managed to beat us back to this location. Wow, what's the deal? And he's like, oh, this is it's 1940s now. What? Where is it? I can't even remember now. It's that date. You know the date. I'm not a history person. Anyway, the point is, he tells the year, and she's just like, "Whoa, the war's been going on for that long." And he's like, "No, not quite."
There was a second one.
There was a second one, and she's like, "What? That's no." Especially considering one of the English soldiers comes up and like is like, "Hey, no civilians here," but he's like talking like real dumb like to them, and the Doctor's like, "Ah, yes, we make it." He says French stuff at him, and then Molly's like, "What did you do that for? Why does he think we're French?" And he's like, "Cause we're in France, and this is the Second World War, and you're in a petticoat, and I'm like, I'm me."
I'm me. So I'm French.
We just kind of look like we're fancy French people. So yeah. So she's having a bit of a time, trying to figure out what's going on here. She's thinking that she's like got 40 years older all of a sudden. It's pretty casual stuff. And he's like, that's not how time travel works. Anyway, let's get back in the TARDIS. I go for a swim, get back in the TARDIS. He uses the dimensional stuff to push the water out. Molly's like, okay, this is just too much for me. Anyway, he decides to try again. Ends up at his house instead in
Baker Street. Yeah, in the 70s in Baker Street. I'm like, oh my god.
They get out, and there's people in his house, and he's like, I'm the Doctor. What are you doing in my house? And he's like, okay, I'm going to take you to some people. Some doctor lady in the 70s who was developing a like I guess initial like what's the word?
Like prototype
Voice.
time stuff?
No. She was
Making the AI, right?
It wasn't necessarily AI. It was just voice operated computing. So she was developing voice recognition software, basically. So she gets a message into a machine that's not even connected to anything that says, "Hey, I'm going to show you how to build a time portal. Here's $1 billion sterling." £1 billion sterling. And she's just like, okay. So she goes to Doctor's house because apparently the message is from the Doctor. So it seems like at least that's what the message is, to build this time portal in his house. So she does it with the £1 billion sterling, and they're starting it up just as the Doctor gets there, comes in. He's like, "What is that you're building? I don't remember this." And she's like, "Yeah, said in your note you might not remember, might not already be here because time stuff, because I'm building a time portal." And he's just like, "That's crazy. Why would I tell you to do this?" And the Daleks come through it, and he's like, "Oh, of course."
and
that's why I tell you to build it.
And Sally's like, "Why would you tell us to build this so that the Daleks would come?" He's like, I don't think I did.
I don't think I did. So they leave, get in a taxi. Molly's just having a time of her life now. I think she's just gone into shock. She's just having a ball now. And she's like, "Whoa, taxis, they're on wheels, no horses. Does it fly too?" And the Doctor's like, "Don't get ahead of yourself." They get in the taxi. The cabbie's like, "Hey, where do you want to go?" And the Doctor's like, "Just anywhere, just go fast." And he's like, "You're not gonna ask me to follow that cab, are you? I've always wanted someone to do that." And I'm just like, "Yes."
And then Molly's like, "Follow that cab."
Yeah. She's just having a good time now. She's really having a good time. She's just like, "I'm in a dream world or something. I'm just going with
yeah,
it
that's
now."
what she thinks. She's like, "This is all fake. None of this is happening."
she's just lost it. Anyway, so they're just going. They like turn a corner to like get away from the Daleks, so just blowing things up willy nilly. And the Doctor's like, "Okay, we lost him. Let's go back to the house." They go back to the house, try to climb up the ladder to get back to the TARDIS, and then the Daleks shoot the Doctor, the nice Doctor that we saw, and we're like, "Ah, not another companion."
Yeah, Sally's like, "I'm Isabel for episode 2, bye guys."
Yeah, and then they hop back in the TARDIS, and yeah, the Molly's like, "Hey, we just need to go." So she's like trying to play with the TARDIS, and the Doctor's like, "What are you doing? Just don't do that." And she just keeps playing with it, and they just have a good time with the playing with the TARDIS for a little bit for some reason. Not sure what that's all about. Someone just died. Like they're just casually having a good time. But anyway, she's like, "Hey, instead of us trying to go to your Gallifrey place, if they're like your lords and stuff, they'll contact you when they want you to come back. Why don't we just go somewhere else in all of time and space?" And the Doctor's like, "Yeah, actually, let's just do that." They go to things are crazy things that happen. He's just like, "Whatever, that's cool." Explains that the reason why Molly is someone that he wanted to save is because Straxus had basically said they found her DNA in the time stream because some crazy stuff's about to happen. So they wanted the Doctor to save her, so he did, because that's what he does. He saves the girl, and Molly's all like, "Oh, you saved the girl, eh? Where are all the girls then? There's none here." It's like, wow, that's too right. But anyway, they go to like a
Space
theme park
aquarium
of some kind.
Yeah.
Space aquarium, something like that. They go there. They meet a sheriff. He seems like he's a nautical dude at all. And then they get on this like water ride that's like anti-gravity water. And then the sheriff that they met is not a nice dude. It's totally working for the Daleks people or Toby. And anyway, he's mind controlling one of these like anti-grav dolphin things, tries to kill the Doctor and Molly. They like wrestle with it and then jump out of the water, and it dies from being exposed to real gravity. And Molly's just like, "Man, I've just seen so much."
Yeah. My favorite thing though is Molly is like, "Why would an anti-gravity space dolphin from the future be trying to kill us?" It looks like, how would I know?
Yeah, that's so good. And then then a Dalek a Dalek UFO shows up and starts bombing the place, and they're like, "Oh, okay, I guess the Daleks are just going to follow us around from now on." They jump back in the TARDIS, and Molly is able to control the TARDIS and make it take off. And the Doctor's pretty surprised by that. And that's basically what it is.
Yeah. It's a pretty much a hell of a ride. Harry, get your thoughts on A Fugitive?
Yeah, it's really good, honestly. There's just a lot of fantastic voice actors. There's a lot of fantastic things going on. It's just a real ride that basically the Doctor's ended up back again into the chase, basically.
Yeah, he's in the chase. That's exactly what's happening.
The chase is back again, and it's because with the time controller and everything as well, it's exactly the chase, and but it's like an updated version because things are even happening faster and faster. It's really good. And I'm so glad that I'm listening to it. Basically, like yes.
Yeah. There's so much that ties back into the EU as well. So with the house that he owns at 107 Baker Street, that used to belong to Jago, and that was Jago's house.
Yeah.
We've also got this weird thing with Straxus committing suicide.
Yeah, like trying to like off himself, but then like a bot shows up to stop him from doing that.
And he's just like,
really
he's like, I'm trying to regenerate, and they're like, stop doing that. And it's like, I don't know. Toby Jones keeps appearing. He's all like, man, I'm pretty evil.
It's pretty evil.
Yeah, he's like, I'm Toby Jones. I'm also the Doctor's dark side in the future. So like, what is he gonna do in Dark Eyes that's gonna make him the Doctor's evil personified? Because like, Dark Eyes is where I left the 8th Doctor's journey before we started doing Whoscussion. So like, this is as far as I got after Lucy, and I didn't even remember listening to the Lucy Miller to the Death arc. And when I re-listened to it, I was like, did I just delete this because of how sad I am? Did I just 12th Doctor myself? Like, what's going on here?
I guess so.
It's just so much to be invested in. Like Harry Ishkada was saying earlier, the voice acting really sells this production. It just, I can see why Joss Whedon was like, I want her to be Friday in the MCU.
Yeah.
Because
she's a fantastic voice actress. And they all are. Like, they're fantastic voice acting in every shape and form. Is just, it's spectacular. And there's just like, there's something about the way that they speak that makes you actually feel like you're there. Like anyone else saying something and like hearing it over anything, like they could just be, you're just hearing them talk, right? You're like hearing something over the phone or hearing something like that. But the way that they actually sound with the way that they're speaking it is you can put yourself in that location. Like it's just something about the way that they're acting and the the magnificent way that they put the tracks together that makes it work so well. And the other sound effects as well is just yes. Even on like an alien planet with crazy water gravity and an anti-grav dolphin, you just like, I can see it so clearly, and it's not even there.
For me, the one scene that was really vivid for me is when Molly knocks him out in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And then pulls him into the TARDIS, and he wakes up on the TARDIS floor. Like, I saw her knock him out in the bathroom.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where two Daleks are like, what's going on? We're meant to be killing him? Like, I think that's how she managed to get away, right? They were like, what?
She absolutely just like punched him in the back of the head and then just pulled him in. And it's just like, wow.
And the Daleks were just like, she's too Irish, let's go. Like, it was just really, really well performed, and I really want to see where this first season of Dark Eyes takes us. Toby Jones is magnificent. He's only got about, I'd say all up, about a minute's worth of dialogue in these 2 episodes combined. But I mean, you can just hear these Toby Jones, and that's enough to make me afraid. Which is funny because like I've seen so many interviews with him. He's such a nice guy, but gosh, he's good at being evil. He's so good at being evil. Like he was
he really is.
the villain in the Agatha Christie Poirot TV special Murder on the Orient Express. It was the first time I ever saw him on screen, and I was just like, dude, this guy is good. And then he was in Doctor Who, and I was like, this guy is really good. And like he's in this, he's the bad guy in the MCU. He's my wife's favorite bad guy actually from the MCU. So like this is just Toby Jones. I want to see how bad you get. And I also want to know why Straxus is killing himself, because he's all like, I need to fix the timeline. It's like, why does you being dead equals, like, being in a new incarnation equals fixing the timeline? Yeah. So, I don't know what he knows about the future. So but, I mean, yeah, he was a butt in the 50th, and he's a butt here. Like, just screw you, Straxus. Anything else you want to say before we move on to Phantasmagoria? No,
that's pretty much it. Just listen to it, honestly. Just definitely pick up Dark Eyes. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. The Eighth Doctor's run is really cheap on Big Finish. I don't know if it's on Spotify. I haven't checked, but see if any of the Eighth Doctor's runs on Spotify. The first 50 stories of Big Finish are on Spotify, so like pick that up, because we're about to jump into the second story. And before we even take off with Phantasmagoria, can I just say, how did they get over the teething episodes the next episode? They had teething, like, in Sirens of Time, there were some huge teething problems, like no sound effects, like minimal sound effects, minimal, like, even
they realized music. Right away. They were listening to it, and they were like, hey, it needs all these things, let's just put them in. That's all they did.
Because, like, in Phantasmagoria, instantly there's, like, horse hooves clobbering on the stones. You can hear them walking on the floorboards in the house. Like, it's just so good. And I was like, where was this in the last episode? They're like, come on, man. That was our first ever episode. And they probably had the jitters because they got the rights from BBC to do Doctor Who. And like, can we get 3 doctors together? Let's make it happen. This episode perplexes me because it's written by Mark and I love it. I adore it. But let's jump into it. So the Doctor and Turlo, they land in a house in what's the time again? In 1702. They land in a house in 1702, and the Doctor and Turlo are talking about cricket, and it's so great because Turlo's like, I don't get why you like it, and he's like, it's because it's awesome. And Turlo's like,
it's the best game in the universe.
I can't agree, and I'm just like, Doctor, it's only awesome for your current incarnation. Don't force it on Turlo.
Like the rest of them don't like it.
Yeah. I like when Seven in what was it? In the Family of Blood novel, he's like, I'd never be caught dead playing cricket, and then when he gets turned into a human, he plays cricket. It's so good.
Yeah.
But Turlo's like, I don't really get it. Where are we, Doctor? And he's like, yeah, where are we? And this fella walks in, and this old gentleman, he's like, have at you, sir. And the Doctor's like, please don't kill us. We're art dealers. And he's like, art dealers? Then where's the art? And they're like, this blue box. And he's like, what the hell's a police? And he's like, it's a foreign word. It's some foreign art. I think you'd love it. And he's like, oh my goodness. Oh wow, this is beautiful. This is great. And so the Doctor and him start getting along immediately. Henry's his name. So oh no. Yeah, it was Henry, yeah. So the Doctor, Henry, and Turlo, they're getting along quite well, and his what's her name? She's what's her rank? A maid, but stool maid, housemaid. It's not housemaid. It was some yeah, but it wasn't. She wasn't just called that. She was called something maid. Because there were too many terms back then. All right, and her name was Hannah. So Hannah was like, hey guys, what's good? And Turlo and Hannah seem to have a bit of a rapport. The Doctor's got a bit of rapport, and they hear this man outside going, I'm possessed by demons. And because Henry's like, I believe in such things, the Doctor's like, really? But you seem like a man of science. So they run outside, and Turlo gets freaked out at this guy, so he gaps it. Because even though he's an alien, he's still a teenager. So he's like, I'm scared. I'm a teenager. And the Doctor's like, don't run away, Turlo. You literally don't know how to get back here. So Turlo and the Doctor get separated. And I like this because, like, it's so classic Who. We need to separate them. I mean, even the stories we did with New Who, there's that separation as well. It's just a Doctor Who storytelling trope that I don't think gets old for some reason.
No, it's a good storytelling mechanism is to have your characters split up and actually have 2 separate lines of story. It's much easier than just trying to like build a new character out of nowhere that's separate to the story. It's much easier to have your already built characters just get separated at some point. It's the whole like, let's split up, gang. Like that's it.
Yeah, and still be relevant in 40 years. And
it's a fantastic storytelling tool. So
yeah, I really enjoyed it.
and it's much I'd definitely prefer it to trying to like build a new character every time you start a new story, basically. So
I wonder if that's why Quantum Leap didn't last too well. But the doctor's like, oh no, oh dang it. And so Turlo goes off and he gets lost, and he ends up meeting these two fellas that go to this place called the Diablo Club, which in the future is called the Hellfire Club. So that's interesting, because we know that from Minute Hell, from the 8th Doctor and Charlie. So back then it was just some bros hanging out, and he meets this fella called Quincy Flowers and another character called Jasper Jake. And I love Jasper Jake. He's voiced by Mark Gatiss, and I love David Williams' character as well, but there's just something of that. Gatiss is oozing with charisma in this story.
Yes.
And it's just every like second of audio he's giving his all, and he's having such a great time doing it. And I'm like, this is the passion I want for you on TV. Like, I love him here. And so like him and Turlo, they're getting along, they're hanging out, and they start shouting Turlo food and beer. I don't think a gentleman his age should be drinking, but he doesn't care. So they're getting on it.
It's the
1700s. It's all good.
Exactly.
You can do it under 18-year-old alien boy. And so they're getting on it. They're having a good time. I suppose he's with adults, right? So he's all good. He's with guardians. And they're having a whale of a time. And at the Diablo Club, there's this gentleman who is... what was his name? Was it Edmund? Who was the evil guy was called? What was his name again? Hang on.
Nicholas Valentine.
There we go. Oh, how did I forget? Valentine? Like, how can I forget David Williams calling him that the whole time? So, Valentine, he's this person who plays cards with gloves on, and he is like well known in the circuits of nobility. And since the king has died, he's sort of fallen from grace, because he was like the king's best bud, basically. And something nefarious seems to be happening whenever anybody plays him in cards. And so the Turlo's team is trying to figure out more about this guy, Valentine, whilst also just having a good time. So it's kind of great. Like, they're sort of being like real blokey about it. They're like, oh, we'll figure out why he's murdering people later, but right now I want to try this pie. So they're like, they're like, they haven't got their priorities straight. It's great. The Doctor, on the other hand, him and Henry are trying to figure out how they can recollect with Turlo, but also why is this man all disheveled and dead like? And the Doctor's like, this playing card, this is the key. And there's a highwayman who's going around robbing nobility, and the highwayman sticks up Quincy and Jasper, and they're like, oh my god, are you that famous highwayman? He's like, yeah, I am. So they give him all of their money, and they're like, we just got robbed by that famous highwayman. I can't wait to tell the blokes of the Diablo Club. And they're like really chuffed about it. They're like, yeah, we got robbed by someone famous. So they're like really happy, because it's just so fantastic. David Williams and Mark Gatiss are like, for me, they keep you constantly engaged in the story. Like, it's not boring. I don't think the story is awful. But I think like without them, this story would struggle to keep going. And it sort of shows that like I've been way too harsh on Mark Gatiss, because he's able to have sort of almost like a Greek chorus, really, keeping the plot flowing. And I thoroughly enjoyed this. But anyway, the Doctor and Turlo basically figure out at the same time that Valentine is this evil bad guy, and he's kidnapped Quincy overnight. So Jasper and Turlo have been trying to find Quincy, but every now and then Jasper's like, you know, Turlo, I want to find my best friend, but also I want to get pissed and eat. How about you? And Turlo's like, yeah, let's go do that instead. So like, and like my favorite is when they're like sitting there and like Jasper's had a bit too much to drink. He's like, oh, I can't believe we can't find flowers. Oh, I'm so sad. And Turlo's like, then why are we sitting here getting drunk and eating? He's like, hang on, I don't know, man. So they go out on it, and then the Doctor finds them, and he's like, why are you guys sitting here getting drunk and eating? And Turlo's like, hey, Doctor, you need to hear this. He just lost his friend Quincy, and the Doctor's like, oh, well, I'm trying to find somebody who seems to be kidnapping people. So they all surmise that it's this Valentine guy, and then they decide to break into Valentine's homestead. They get in there, And they send Henry back home. They're like, Henry, look, you're old. You should just go back home. He's like, oh, I want to go on an adventure, though. And like, no, you're too well, go away. And Henry's like, oh, okay, well, you guys come back to my place later on, we'll have a feed. Taylor's like, yeah, let's have a feed later on, this is awesome. So they like, he goes home, they all go to Valentine's house, and like, Valentine, you're an evil alien. And Jasper's like, he's a what? He's an alien. Oh, hey, what's all this stuff on the walls? Alien stuff. And Jasper's like, I don't quite know what's going on, but I could do with a pie right now. And they find Quincy, and he's like, Flowers, my good man. That's Quincy's surname. What's going on? And he's like, there's an evil demon of a man. He's like, is there? Hey, you want to go eat later on? He's like, I don't know if you know this, man, but I'm literally enslaved right now to an evil alien. And Jasper's like, Jasper just doesn't click this whole scenario. I love it. Like, Jasper is disconnected from everybody the whole rest of the story. Like, it's funny because I always complain about Mark's third acts. I always complain about it. And his third act is a triumph. And I'm just like, what's going on here? Is this Mark? Like, what? So the doctor's like, hey, you're bad. You did all this bad stuff. He's like, yeah, how do you know that? And then he's like, well, Hannah over here is the highwayman. And she's like, what? How did you click to that? And he's like, I know. Come on, I know. I'm the doctor. And she's like, yeah, well, you're evil and you killed my parents. And Valentine's like, well, how about I kill you? The doctor's like, oh, you didn't need to kill her. She was cool. And I was like, oh, couldn't she have been a Big Finish exclusive companion? Why just to kill her Big Finish, you bastards? So she's dead. I liked it because it would have been cool, like having like a chameleon almost, even though he's got chameleon canonically at this point. But
he should still have chameleon.
Yeah. So, whatever. So the doctor is like, oh man, I really need someone to do this specific thing. And I can't really recall what it was, but I know Henry comes and turns up and does it. And it's great because Henry's like, I'm not some old guy, I can help. And he comes and saves the day. And the doctor's like, thanks for turning up, Henry. And he's like, see, I can still do cool stuff. I'm not that old. The doctor's like, good on you, man. Cheers, man. And so the day was saved by Henry. And Quincy and Jasper are like, well, you know what? We're going to go back to the Diabolic Hub and get drunk. Bye, guys. And Henry's like, oh, man. Oh, doctor, the world's so much bigger than I ever thought it was. He's like, cool. Bye, Henry. And then he disappears, and Henry's like, ha, 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 a disappearing box. Ha, 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 ha. And that's the end of the story.
Yeah.
Right, so, Harry Skelly, Phantasmagoria.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, I agree.
It's pretty much the deal, really, when it comes down to it. With the good old, yeah. Anyway, the point is, Mark Gatiss does a fantastic job in this, and it really does show that he just has some real hit and miss stuff when it comes down to it. Like it's only ever the third act. Like he's got really good premises and other stuff. It's just fails to like lock in the deal basically. And I feel like that Big Finish probably helped him a little in this case. They were probably like, actually, like the script you've got here, we kind of need to sort this last act out. That's all I've really got for you. And there's someone in Big Finish, or a couple of people in Big Finish, that just really care about it being top notch and just won't let anything bad come out of it, basically.
And I suppose that comes down to the fact that they don't want to lose the license as well.
Exactly, as well. So they've got a lot riding on it, so they do need to make sure that it is as spectacular as they can. And this definitely is. It's got all the trimmings of being a fantastic Doctor Who episode. Obviously, even though it's a historical, it's not pure historical. It's got some aliens and stuff in it, which it can be done well, and it is done well in this circumstance. But obviously, I'm really edging for some just pure historicals, and we might get them at some point shortly. Yeah,
we probably will, because we got that with the Great Hurricane.
Yeah, no, I'm talking from Big Finish. I'm talking in the
Doctor Who. Yeah, hopefully we're actually getting that.
So that's just another thing for me. But yeah, there's a lot else to the story. Hannah's relation to Valentine, and him having killed her parents and being alien stuff there's a lot of interesting stuff going on. As well as the biodata and playing cards that allow them to like draw the brain power out of people. Yeah, that's just, there's a whole lot of stuff in there that's just adds on to the story that makes it that much more complex. As as I was saying before in part 8, it's not one of those stories that you can just sort of switch off and let happen.
Yeah.
You need to actually be paying attention to what's going on, and that's why I really like it, and that's why I like Doctor Who. So when those episodes are not what's going on, I don't like Doctor Who.
I absolutely agree. For me, one of the things that when I was watching this, it reminded me of sort of a lot of hand-drawn animations from America. Actually, I got that feel. You ever seen what was it called? The American Tail,
Yes.
the mouse movies.
Yeah.
The hand-drawn animation in that is, for some reason, that's what I was drawn to when I was listening to this. Like, I was like watching like the Fifth Doctor and Turlo as if they were hand animated in like 1980s American hand animation, and I was just like, man, this story could really, like, it would be amazing as an animated feature.
Absolutely. The audio profile of this definitely lends it, I think. Just sort of not scratchy, but sort of the radio aspect of it makes it like that. But then also the sound effects, like the swirling mind things that were coming to the hounds of hell, as everyone seemed to call them, coming on that chase down the people, really lended to that idea, like a swirling animation.
Yeah, like Secret of Nim.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Exactly.
Can we animate Big Finish? Can we just make that happen?
That would be nice.
That'd be fantastic. All right, guys. Well, that's us for this week. Any thoughts before we wrap up?
Absolutely not. It is all good.
All right, guys. We'll catch you next week, and hopefully part A will be a lot happier. Oh, we've got Project Lazarus next week.